Alright, what's going on, chat? How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. And God bless, no internet issues. Knock on wood. I had to say something. Nah, we're okay, we're okay. Let's turn this down to a comfortable level. And we can get fly time. What's going on, chat? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. You spot a... Oh, what's that? A little telly back there, huh? Oh, excuse me. I usually mute for that. I got a couple songs that I've been working on, so we're going to try and do... Not this week, but hopefully, like, we'll see maybe a week or two from now. We're working on some music stuff for the maybe like a Saturday night or something like that, or a Sunday night. We'll see. But we got some flies to tie. So, oh, see, look, now I'm getting... I had a little frame drop for a second. I had to say something. I think we're good, though. We should be all right. But I had to say something. You see? That's why you got to knock on wood. That's why you got to knock on wood. Hopefully everything's good. It's looking like we had a frame droppage. But, seems okay. We'll see. It's looking good. It's looking okay. We had a little drop for a sec. I'm just looking at the bit rate down here on my monitor, but it looks like we're good. So if you have any issues, just refresh if you need to. What's going on, Southern Fly Guy? What's going on, Gene? How's it going, Gene? I hope you're doing well. I hope your son's doing good. Smack that like button. Save the hypes for the real videos. But, I mean, feel free. You can always hype whatever you like. But you get 3 weeks. Save those for the real videos. But, what do you call it? Seems good? Okay, yeah, we had a slight droppage. I know one of my other neighbors is out here, so there's probably more bandwidth than usual being sucked up on this block. But, what do you call it? It seems okay at the moment. Let's try and drop the ISO to auto for a comfortable brightness level. And we'll leave it on autofocus for now. If we have any issues, well, you know, let's switch it to manual focus real quick. I was filming something else, so. Because it's going to be focusing on my hand all the time, so. There we go. Okay. So I want to tie some flies for myself for the springtime, because we have the fall run. So we have some more of these jig hooks. I wouldn't mind playing around with these, maybe tying some more Cowan type flies and maybe some different colors. Yeah, you don't see hype on the live stream. It's just for regular videos. I think you can hype the VOD or something, but save your hypes for the videos, the main videos that come out on creators' channels that you enjoy watching on YouTube. Okay. So, the only problem is we should probably tie some in white, just white. We could do that for sure, because I only have so many colors of the Flash and Slinky. And we can also experiment with maybe adding, like we've done with some Hackles and stuff like that as well. But this is a fun fly, and I'd like to fish more of these. So I tied some for a customer, and we got those done. I have a couple here for myself, but I'd like to tie some in maybe different colors or something. So we'll mess around with the Cowan's bait fish flies. Now we also have this Naiad fiber, which I'm kind of tempted to use this instead of polar fiber, but I mean, this is a little long, so we'll probably just use some craft fur. So we got some craft fur, we got our Flash and Slinky, we have all that stuff, so we're looking good. Those would be mine. All right, thank you. Well, I always want to make sure I'm not trying to, there's some great YouTube content creators out there. Okay. So we're going to start off by applying a lead keel here. You know what? I wouldn't mind actually trying just maybe some shanks So maybe on this one we'll just try some shanks on the bottom side. Because I would like to see the difference between one with shanks and one with a wrapped lead keel. So we're going to go with the shank style here. Which if you want to build like a Sadati style keel, you would wrap the shank with lead wire, and that would give the shank enough diameter for you then to start building your 5 wide lead keels. Instead of wrapping it, we're going to focus all of the lead on the bottom. I want to see if that makes a difference in any way. So we'll tie a couple variations. And here, I like to make sure that if I have one that's a little bit longer, I'm going to trim that. How's our lighting? I think we could probably go manual ISO and swap it. Yeah, it's better. Lift the light up a little bit. So I got to record another fly tying video. I do want to do the Magnum bait fish, but we've been doing a lot of Cowan's flies, so we might mix it up a little bit just for some variety. And I might tie like either like the pink bucktail deceiver or like one of the bucktail deceiver colorations, or like squimpish type flies that I usually fish in the spring. Someone asked for a video that we're gonna do. I have to film soon. Is a springtime striper fly box. That's something that we haven't done. We've done a like look inside commercial fly tires box. We've done a false albacore fly box sneak peek, if you will. So I think a springtime, like because I usually use a smaller fly box that's easier. I can just chuck in my waders. So and I usually have just like a handful of flies in there for springtime. I don't really bring too many flies a lot of times. Because they're generally going to eat a handful of flies, you know what I mean? This time of year, it's not like a certain type of feed that it's like, well, if you didn't have the pink or the chartreuse, it's more so like, I think, the putting it in front of them situation. So you could see we built up our lead keel on the bottom. But instead of wrapping it, we've done the shank method. So all of the lead is kind of focused now into a keel, like on a sailboat on the bottom. So, you know, again, I'm curious whether wrapping it or doing this will have, you know, I'm sure everything does have an impact in how it swims, for instance. It's any sort of like jigging motion. Oh, I also forgot. Where's my cool, fancy, there we go, LI Flies mic thing that we made a long time ago. But it's always stuff you need to have consideration for. It also could just, what do you call it? It could be a very slight variation or change, though, you know what I mean? What's going on, Ferret? All right, now we're going to wrap this with some body braid. I should also just go wash my hands real quick because I have lead on them. Gotta save them. They only give you a couple. Yeah, you only get 3 a week when it comes to the hypes. So you gotta use them wisely. With great power comes great responsibility. So we're gonna go ahead and just wrap this on here. Like so. Just cover up that nasty lead wire and also give us another texture of flash inside the body. It also kind of gives us, my favorite thing about it is now my thread isn't going to get stuck inside of the gaps, which isn't really an issue now, but it's just going to make the Now I can have the peace of mind of touching my face without getting lead all over it. Only a member on one channel. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. The support means a lot, believe me. Us fly tires, we got to stick together. You ever see that Dave Chappelle skit? That's one of my all-time favorite Dave Chappelle skits. Is the Wayne Brady one. So good. I had the pleasure of watching that TV show like on air when it came out. And like every week, me and my dad would like wait for the new Chappelle show. I think it was after South Park, if I'm not wrong. Or it was like before or some point around it, but those are the good old days. Oh snap, it's Wayne Brady. He's got an AK. Alright. We're gonna take some. But he kept saying, and Dave was like, us black actors, we gotta stay together. Because like he didn't want Wayne Brady to go crazy on him. He's like, yeah. You get wet, Dave? That's one of my classic. I haven't had a cable box in over 10, 12 years now. Alright, I'm just going to get rid of the small hairs here on the craft fur, like so. If you haven't, I highly recommend checking out the Chappelle Show. For some reason, if you've lived under a rock, that's the recommendation of the night. Alright, so we're going to go with our craft fur, which has a ton of movement in the tail section. Going to make sure we get all of the short hairs. Not all of them, but a good amount. Only one. Been married 40 years? Oh, nice. Congrats. Well, happy wife, happy life is what I've been told by all the older gentlemen that I've worked with over the years, so I just avoid it altogether, you know what I mean? Women and fly tying don't mix very well, so. Now, I used to know one of my exes, I used to sit and tie flies and like get fly tying material everywhere in her living room. She hated it. But she put up with it. Kind of feel like a jackass fly tying though. There's just like rabbit strips flying all over the place and feathers. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. I kind of went, or I'm gonna just get it like right up in there, like so. Yeah, as long as the house, you know, as long as you put the stinky bucktails away, you'll be all right. And vacuum, you know what I mean? She can live with one, okay. You gotta make sure you clean up after yourself fly tying. The funny thing in my house, I have to vacuum so constantly because it's just, there's like a trail of fly tying material that like follows me out of my room and like going down the stairs. So like you'll just see like pieces of flash going down the stairs because it gets stuck on my socks or something, you know what I mean? I'm constantly, like once a day I vacuum pretty much nowadays. All right, let's go ahead and add some hackle. Because we got, I'm working on the roosterfish stuff, so, excuse me, you know what that means? 5 million pieces of white hackle everywhere. So I'm just going to leave this thing out, because later tonight, I got to get back to tying roosterfish stuff, so. But we can go with some nice skinny hackle. Look, and that hackle is all chopped up and beaten up. You know what I do with pieces like that? I put them on my own personal flies because striped bass does not care whether the the feather's a little tore up at the end. It actually kind of looks cool. Do you ever wrap under the hair to keep it from going on the hook tip? Yes. It's a very common thing. I don't necessarily want to do it here, but if I was tying with the hook point down, something like a Johnny King's Kinky Mother, which I'm tying a ton of them right now, you wrap underneath the hook point to stop it. Right now, though, we're going to essentially have this. Not only are we going to have the hackle sitting like this, but we're going to have all this synthetic material that's going to kind of create a shield. So we shouldn't really have an issue with it fouling. And the other thing is, because of the profile that we're going for, I actually want this to kind of be more streamlined, like that. You know what I mean? But you certainly could, particularly if you don't want the fly to foul. Like with a striped bass fly, I can just slow down my cast. But if I'm fishing for roosterfish or tuna, and it's like you only get a certain opportunity and a certain amount of cast, then I'll make sure I do something like that, or false albacore. But if I'm like just striper fishing in the back bay, that's not necessarily something you have to do. You can if you want, but it will slightly change this. It'll pitch this down, and we already kind of want it to be more like a traditional tail. So it's going to more so, I'm an idiot. What am I talking about? We don't have to worry about doing that because Henry's a genius and he uses liquid fusion, which we're about to do, and stiffen this section of the tail. So yeah. If you weren't doing something like that, yeah, it would be advisable maybe too. But again, something I've learned, particularly with flies like Kenny Abrams, a lot of the like real deal Kenny Abrams sort of flies and guys that were into those sort of flies. I remember this guy, Mark Gustafson, I think he passed away, unfortunately. He was a great musician too here on Long Island. But he was part of this fly club, and he was very much so like the Kenny Abrams fly tire dude, right? Of the local club. Like he was like the best and knew everything. And that was from me. Like he didn't say that, but I could just tell this guy knows what he's talking about. And he gave me like a juvenile sand eel fly with, I remember it was beautiful. It had like 3 pieces of brown bucktail. It had like 4 pieces of lavender, that sort of thing. It was so sparse. It was tied on a salmon hook, and it had jungle cock on it. Beautiful fly. I go to fish it, and it just kept fouling all the time. And he's like, let me guess, you're casting it like you would if you were casting on the jetty. And I was like, boom, like ultra fast action casting. He's like, what you need to do is, especially with Kenny Abrams stuff, he used slower rods. So he was fishing like really slower action, fiberglass-esque saltwater rods that were like 10.5 foot. So he wasn't even, he wasn't like modern day, like fast action rod, like double hauling like crazy. So what'll happen is with a lot of these like super sparse bucktail, flat wingy flies is if you try and cast them like super quick, and it's blowing 30 miles an hour, they'll foul on you. But if you slow down your cast a little bit and you let that loop have more time, they just don't foul. So he was like, just slow down your cast. You're casting like a madman. This is not that sort of fly. It's not a surf candy. I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting. Because like you could just be like, well, why don't you do something to make that fly not foul? But then it wouldn't be that sort of fly. It wouldn't be like that hairwing trout streamer fly, almost like converted for striper fishing. It wouldn't have the same profile, wouldn't swim the same. So just slow down your cast. But that was interesting as well. I missed some stuff because I'm yapping, but back home from Adepticon, nice. So I'm assuming you spent all your time at the conflict booth. Am I right? I have to check out. I think it was the Angry Joe show. I think he went and he was talking about all the games. I have to check it out. But hopefully you had a good time. I got seltzer splashed up, hit me in the eye. Angel here, my wife's soup was real popular. There you go. Now you're just adding to the flavor. And, yo, what's going on, Frankenstein Ape? How's it going, dude? All of our snow here in this winter just melted. Here in Minnesota, spring is upon us. Very cool. Very cool. Jim, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm getting my Regal in 2 weeks. I'd get it much sooner, but I spent too much at Adepticon. You actually did buy the stop by the conflict booth. Oh, very cool. Very cool. You stop by, you say, hey, man, that Mike Rolls Dice guy, he's something else. One day, don't worry. I actually pre-ordered about $15,000 worth of miniatures. It's coming soon. Don't worry. But that Mike Rolls Dice guy, thank God for him, because I would have never heard about Conflict. Too nice. You're too nice. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And Zeke, what's going on, dude? How's it going? I should have paid you to be like, oh yeah, thank God, you know, like just you should have like, I should have sent you in secret undercover to plant the Mike Rolls Dice seed in the Warlord Games team. Because we'll see, I don't know, they might know who I am, but I just love the idea of like sending you in there undercover. Mike Rolls Dice. For all of you that don't know, I have a second YouTube channel that is does pretty good in the Conflict 47 and like alternative war game community. Mike Rolls Dice. So we're growing it. We're almost at 1,000 subs, which is the point to where we can start earning ad revenue on that channel. So go subscribe to Mike Rolls Dice if you haven't. We're 40 subs away. We're growing. We're getting there. But that's what we do when I'm not fly tying. Me and my buddy Rev, who you see here in the channel, who's been supporting the channel for a while. We recorded tabletop wargaming stuff, games. All right, got our liquid fusion on there. I'm even gonna press my Hackle on there. So there you go. The Hackle ain't fouling now. We got some of that liquid fusion in there. Okay. Yeah, perfect. The last video did good. I love the Conflict 47 community because they're just awesome. They've been awesome. Very kind and very helpful as well with the game. All right. How's it going, Zeke? How you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. Let's put some of this stuff away. I apologize. There's a lot of feathers over there in this corner, but it's literally, I'm tying all these roosterfish stuff off stream, so I'm going to be quite a busy boy doing that for a while. Alright. So, Flash and Slinky. Very, very nice. I think I want to do one in all white, so maybe that's what we'll do right now. Maybe we'll use like some Steve Farrar fiber for color or something. We can just cut this in half. And we're going to keep it sparse. There's actually a lot of flash. I need some more Slinky fiber in this pinch. Keep it sparse, baby. That's maybe what we'll do. We should get a, in the future, a t-shirt. Keep it sparse. That's my new motto in life. I try to live my life by. What's your motto you live your life by? You know, some people have like all these symbolic sayings. Mine is keep it sparse. That's about right in the middle. You want this on top. You only need one nice tight tie to hold it down, really. And then for the top section, I'll just make it a little bit longer by pulling on the ends slightly. After I cut it, I always pull on the ends, but you get the idea. Always tapering. Actually, might take some of this off the belly, put it on top. Yeah, there's a ton of this Mirage Flash, or whatever the hell it's called, mirror. Definitely got a big handful of flash with this grab here. So we're just going to take and fold it back. We got to make sure it's lined up evenly. Looks like it though, so I'm all right. And we fold it back. So chat, it is April 3rd. That means that we're kind of officially about 9 days away usually from the first day I catch striped bass, sometimes earlier. I will say last year I didn't catch a single fish locally in the bay here in spring, so I had to go other places, which was terrible. The first time in I don't know how many 20 years, honestly. So I'm hoping this year's better. But we're getting very close to that time. Today I went to the post office and shipped out some giveaway stuff, as well as some orders of flies. And what do you call it? It really felt like it was striper weather. It was like an overcast, sort of like 50 degree, you know, like early spring striper day. But something tells me the water temps are still probably freezing. It's like probably still really cold. That's going to be the biggest issue is the water temps. Tomorrow's trout opener. Yeah, I think trout opener is... Was it April 1st or is it April 20th or something in New York or on Long Island? It changes, but... Some folks said trout opened already in their state. I think it was April 1st. And they went out and did some trout fishing. I think it was somebody in chat. Mentioned it last week or something. It was before April 1st. Or they were getting ready, something. Something or other. Okay, nice and flashy. So go ahead and grab another pinch. This time it's going to be shorter. So what I'm going to do instead of folding it in half, I'm actually going to cut it like 3 times to get some different lengths. I'm going to pull another section for the top. This one we might keep it half, or somewhere around there. Kind of pre-cutting sections or pieces. Okay. Yeah, we can keep this one fairly long on top here. And grab something like this for the belly. We're going to go much shorter on the belly section. And now we're going to, after these ties, we're going to keep shortening the material drastically and drastically. Also, keep it sparse. I went a little bit heavier on the top there, but that's okay in these initial ties. We also got our nice lead keel on there that we put on, so. But now we can start going much shorter. Again, trying to keep it nice and sparse. Just move forward a little bit. And again, like at this point, I can really start drastically shortening the hair, because otherwise it's just going to be a waste. Because in reality, we're going to be trimming it, so. And I think what we want to do is I also want to I'm going to try and spread the material a little bit more than I usually do on this. I want to get more of a 3D and less of a 2D on this particular profile that I'm going for, if you will. Man, look at that floral fiber in the back. I'm sorry, I gotta apologize. This is almost grabbed my attention. So fluorescent. So again, I kind of left myself more room here, so we'll do like, we really have room for like 3 more ties, but that means I gotta keep it sparse, sparse, sparse. So keep it sparse. Sparse and short. We'll go ahead, move forward, tie. Oh, really? This might actually be the second to last tie here. Nah, we got room for it. What I'll do is I'll keep it nice and sparse. I need a foot pedal so I can kick on my reverb on my mixer so I can, when I want to say sparse, because now it's like, how many times have I said keep it sparse this stream? Like 400 already. I need a sound effect every time I do it, just to punctuate it. That punctuation. Yeah, what's going on, Sandman? How's it going? I love a good trout fishing session, by the way, Bob. Don't get me wrong. I'll even go catch them as they're throwing them out of the back of the truck. It's just once striper season starts. If the striper fishing's good, that's usually where you're going to find me. Because they can eat a trout. But that's kind of because it's my location. If I was like out in New York or somewhere, I'd probably be a trout guy, you know? Or out in upstate somewhere. If I wasn't born on Long Island, I'd probably be trouting it up and muskie and smallmouth and all that jazz. Now, you know, this is like the last one. So let's throw in our fluoro. What's on the vise tonight? We're tying some of Henry Cowan's bait fish flies, but on jig hook form. But for my own fly box, because again, we're only like a week away about from when I usually start going out fishing. So here on Long Island. So we got our secret sauce, the pink fluoro fiber. Mandatory for any Henry Cowan fly. Yeah, this could be a lot. This is gonna be our last tie. So this ended up working okay. There was a little bit of a bump there because we were working where the lead wire keel section was, but that's okay. Get a little extra hair for the top section. Ugh. Oh, Catfish Terry. Love the name. That's the sort of person that you call when you like break down on the side of the road. You're like, we gotta call Catfish Terry, dude. He'll come help. He'll help out. Or they'll help out. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. We're gonna put some more hair on top here. Some slinky fiber. Just build it up a little bit, and then we can fold it back and trim it. I'm gonna add a little bit more material towards the head section here because I do want to have a pronounced head on it. And cover up this little thread dam from where the lead wire was. Though we are gonna glue eyes right there, so. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Essentially a jig without the jig head. It's tied on a jig hook. You could easily tie this on this original fly was tied on a traditional hook, but a lot of fly tyers have been embracing the jig hook past like 15 years or so, and I think one of the things is people are finding out is the jig hooks also seem to gill hook straight bass less often, which number one thing we're trying to do is avoid catch and release mortality in straight bass fishing nowadays, because straight bass populations are down drastically. So anything you could do, including stressing the fish less before you release them. And the jig hooks, it seems like you hook them right in the top of the mouth every single time, or right in the lip. With a traditional style flyer hook, because of the way they're like a bass, the way their mouth works, they inhale it. They tend to get hooked in the gills a lot, which is not good, obviously. So nice. All right. Yeah, apparently you can catch some catfish on the fly. I mean, there's some catfish that are predatory species, especially over in like Europe and South America. But I think folks even do some fly fishing for catfish here in the United States, but I'm not too familiar. I know there's folks that fish with stank, nasty bait and stuff like that. All right, we're going to trim this up real quick. You know what? I think I actually do have room for one more tie, and I think I have to do one more tie here. So I'm going to. It's just the way my spacing worked out. I actually ended up tying one more tie extra, and the changing the lead keel threw me for a loop. But you know what? Let's spoil ourselves. We'll throw one more tie in here, just to fill in the head section slightly. Because it's a little sparse here in the head. I want a little bit more material there. And it's easy enough to fix. Like I said, don't feel afraid to go back and fix something. If you have the opportunity to. You don't always have the opportunity in fly tying too, but if you do and you're lucky enough, embrace it. Take this. I'm just going to cut this stuff to the right length real quick. Again, we're going to have to trim it. Let's take some of this for the top. The only thing is working near this section of the jig hook can be quite annoying, but that's okay. Working at an awkward angle there. We'll keep it pretty short. I'm going to grab a little bit more material, though. There should be enough. That's why it's really important to get your spacing right on your ties. But it's kind of hard when it's... I mean, I just tied a bunch of these, but it's kind of hard when you're, let's say you're tying a brand new fly, for instance, you've never tied one. It's kind of hard at times to kind of estimate or gauge. But that's what experience, and that's why you just got to tie flies. It's one of the big things I tell people. You just got to like get time under your belt and comfortable with certain flies. That's better though. See, we filled up the head a little bit more to trim it. River cats. They'll grab a streamer. Oh, interesting. Very cool. Yeah, we don't have a lot of catfish here on Long Island. We only have a select few species. I see people bait fish for them, but I don't do a lot of freshwater fishing in general. But one of the lakes we used to see. This is the issue, dude. This is one of the reasons why I like my 210 denier thread from Danville. Just doesn't slip. The mono at times, it's one of the inconvenient things. The mono just completely slipped on me, so now we gotta redo this. It's so annoying. It's because it's at an awkward angle. I mean, you know, I don't blame it. I don't blame the mono, but I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. But the very, 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 very nice thing about Danville flat wax 210 denier is it's waxed, so you get the benefit of it kind of cinches down into itself, so you could tie without even glue with the 210 denier flat wax nylon. I got to make sure my thread wrapping's super tight here, just so it doesn't, because we kind of worked right up to the point, so it's, I kind of did this to myself. It's an awkward angle, yada yada yada. That's why it's important, like I said, get your thread spacing properly. Fly came out fine. Just we spent like 3 extra minutes longer messing with that. Come back from a Yankees game on the phone. Nice. How'd they do? You fish them about 6 to 8 inches in below a bait. Interesting. We usually, when we fish for summer flounder, which they would be called down south, we call them fluke up here. People will use either flies, like teasers, with a, what do you call it? I forgot the name, where they tipped with a bait, like a silver side or a shiner. Or what they'll do is they'll have a bait like a squid strip or a fluke belly strip and a shiner below and a weight. You know, so they'll have the 3-way with the weight and the bait. And then above that, they'll have a dropper loop with a fly as the teaser. And a lot of times they'll hit the fly, not even the bait, which is really crazy. They won? Nice. I was always more of a Mets dude, but I haven't, you know, what do you call it? That was just because everyone loved the Yankees, and this is when Mike Piazza was the catcher. This is like super decisive. I remember the Subway series or something, and I don't even like baseball, but you grow up in New York back in the 2000s with Derek Jeter and Mike Piazza. It was like an iconic thing. It was like Kobe and, you know, Allen Iverson or something showing down. Yeah, I was always more of like a basketball. But at some point, though, I used to like playing sports, not as much watching, but like playing football or playing basketball and stuff. And casual, by the way, not like actual. I was on basketball teams back in middle school and stuff like that. But once I got high school, I was listening to Jimi Hendrix and growing long hair, and you know where that goes. You ain't going to basketball practice when you're blasting Hendrix at in headphones on vinyl. Your headspace is in a whole different area. When you're listening to Ari Experience at 14 or something, you're like, screw basketball, dude. I got Hendrix. I got Cream. I got Pink Floyd. The whole world just opened up. All right. We're going to trim these up. Make sure that glue's dried so I don't glue my fingers to the fly. Yeah, I'm excited to finally play some music again on Twitch, do some jam and make, what do you call it, embarrass myself like we used to back in the good old days. I gotta figure out when we're gonna do it though, I have no idea. I think we used to do it Saturday nights, but now I've been streaming on Saturday nights for Mike Rolls Dice, so I have to figure out how I'm gonna handle the situation. Just gonna thin this down. You need some Fiskars? I mean, you know what you need? You need some you need some eyeglasses, all right? Where the hell's the Fiskars? Hey, there she is. Best goddamn scissors money can buy. One of these days, Fiskars will send me a truckload of scissors. In reality, like they're like, who? What? Fly tying? Yeah, okay, whatever. But in my mind, I'm like the Fiskars all-star, like on their pro team, with like some sort of like elementary school teacher who's like a world champion. I don't know, arts and crafts teacher or something. And then there's like a pro collager or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like who would Fiskars sponsor. Some sort of dumb hobby stuff, like fly tying. I say dumb because the masses don't really care to give two craps about it. Alright, we're gonna, you can see I'm just kind of getting my final shape and profiling, just working it down slowly, and think of it as a 3D fly, not as a 2D one. You want to look at it from all angles. God, my voice is already... Oh, yeah! I'm already getting raspy. You can come from the back like this, but I will warn you, if you screw up when you're trimming this way against the grain, you could literally cut down like to the hook shank. So you need to be very careful. I always cut with the hair. Don't cut against it. Because it kind of lays down. It kind of naturally stops you from cutting too much. You can still do it, but... So again, it's important to angle your scissors away, you know? Still sharp. I mean, they're very good. See, there you go. And Slim Thunder would be for trimming something else, but would be the All-Star champion. They're very good for that as well. Doesn't bother your thumbs. Well, that's the thing. I think I even used some Fiskars for that particular sort of thing. And I will say, though, after, like, trimming deer hair heads for, like, 6 hours with scissors or, like, trimming flies for 6 hours, even with the Fiskars, dude, your thumbs are going to hurt. You know what I mean? I remember I had to sit down and trim, like, a huge batch of flies for somewhere where I had to, like, go to a fly show in New Jersey the next day or something. And I sat there and trimmed, like, 200 Surf Candy synthetic ones, and I was like, okay, my hands were like, I felt like I had arthritis by the time I was done. But without any comfortable scissors, you wouldn't have been able to do it for an hour or two. But at least when you have scissors that are comfortable, you can sit down and do it all day. But man, no matter what, I think you're gonna hurt your hands when you're trimming for like crazy long sessions. Most people don't need to do that, but if you ever find yourself chained up in someone's basement tying flies for a living, then, you know, it might... Okay. Where's this fly at? Let's glue some eyes on here. Looking nice and all white. Went for a much slimmer profile on this one as well. It's almost like more like a... Well, no, it's fairly similar. But obviously less of like a peanut bunker, more of like a smaller mullet herring, sort of, if you will. You know what I mean? Get some eyes on here. These eyes they're quite large, but they kind of fit, and I like the large eyes for this sort of fly, you know what I mean? Kind of pulls it all together. Do we need eyes? No, we could just fish it the way it is. But are we going to put eyes on there because it looks cool? Hell yeah. Of course we are. Do I honestly think the fish care? Probably not. That's my personal belief. I know there's two camps. But if you've ever fished any sort of lure or popper back in the day for striped bass in the surf, you've caught like hundreds of bluefish on it. You've dragged it along the rocks. It's been dragged along the sand so many times as you're reeling the popper in the surf. What happens is they slowly get the paint chipped off them. And I've seen dudes with poppers that literally had no paint on them. So they didn't have eyes, they didn't have any color, it was just a bare piece of wood, but it was like a Gibbs. And they were just slamming fish with them. So that's where it kind of like, if it's crystal clear water and the fish is very, like, has the chance to really eye it up, then maybe the eyes matter. But most of the time, this fish is not even going to see this fly from the angle that we think it will. It's not going to see the fly like we are. The fish is going to see the fly like this, more than likely. And from behind or from below or from, you know what I mean? It's not going to be like in an aquarium swimming right next to this thing. So, I don't know. Personally, I'm in the camp that the eyes don't make too much of a difference. But again, you'll hear me say it 1,000 times. The eyes will make you confident as a fisherman or a fisher. So that's where I highly recommend putting eyes on your flies if they make you confident. Because anything to stop you from changing flies every 15 seconds. It's the most annoying thing. Like, I'll go out with somebody that's new. I'm like, dude, you got to stop changing flies. You're driving me crazy over there. They're like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm like, you haven't even made 5 casts with the other one. Leave it alone. I'm like, you didn't even give him a chance to look at it. Stop asking me what fly to use. I've been using the same fly this whole time. It's so... Because I used to, back in the day, I used to be in that mindset. Well, I've casted like 15 times and I haven't gotten a bite, so it must mean the fly's bad. No, it might mean the fish are not even there at that particular time, or they're passing by or whatever, you know what I mean? Or I'm not putting it in the right spot. But I was so stuck into like, it's the fly, it's the fly, it's the fly. 90% of the time, it's not the fly, it's me that's doing something wrong. It's a different story if you know the fish are in an exact specific place and they're feeding in an exact specific area. But if you're just blind casting, for instance, and that's 95% of the fishing that I do throughout the year is just blind casting, you know what I mean? Having a general idea where the fish could be, but and trying to work that. But I'm excited for this year's fishing. Hopefully it'll be better than last year. I mean, word for word what I just said. I hope so, dude. I hope so, Craig. We'll see. I'm praying for it. I need a good year of striper fishing to motivate me for some kick-ass videos. Because I started out the year super strong. This is usually what happens. I usually am super excited for the spring. I mean, this is what happened the past couple of years, I should say. Previously, fishing was fantastic, but I get super excited for the spring fishing, and then it's like, recently, like past 3-4 years, it's like, man, it hasn't been as good or whatever. And then I usually, like summertime, it just falls off. You know what I mean? Because it gets so hot in the bay. So the fish go out in the ocean. And without my boat now, it's like, dude, the fishing sucks. But the springtime fishing usually saves it. But again, it's been getting rougher and rougher. So we had a nice cold winter, though. And apparently that's very good for striper spawns. So we'll see. That could be very good. It may not be this year we see that result of it, but it might be, you know, a couple years down the road or something. And I still don't even know. Maybe they didn't have a good spawn. I'm just hoping that they did, because cold weather usually is indicative or helps striper spawns, apparently. Even all my yard tools are Fiskars, sharp and well built. Oh, do they sell I didn't even know that. They sell like hedge trimmers and stuff like that and yard tools. Dude, shout out to Fiskars. It just gets better and better every day. You know what I mean? Hoping for a good spawn. It was a real cold winter here in New York. Shoveled way too much for bad fishing in the future. Angler's Dam. I had a wall, because we had 27 inches here in New York, or in Long Island, but I had like a wall in front of my house. And the problem is, like, it kept snowing and snowing, and I had to shovel. I only have so much room in like my driveway in my house before I have to start throwing the snow in like on my neighbor's yard, and they don't want that. So I like built these ice walls on like the edge of my property and then in front of where we park our cars. But the problem is I got so high that I couldn't put any more snow on there. So I kind of blocked myself out. And then I had to take the snow and I had to shovel it across the street into the woods. It was, dude, I spent the entire day pushing. It was good. It was actually worked out pretty well. I had to shovel the road because they don't shovel my road. And then I had to push the snow across the street. And it was just like, I didn't have anywhere to put the snow. I was running out of room because it just wouldn't melt. Such a pain in the ass. Between your neighbors, you had 5 foot tall of snow. Yeah. And it stayed a while too. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully the good cold winter definitely helped out and gave these fish a good spawn. Again, this is the sort of thing that we would see like years from now, but 5 foot snow mounds from shoveling at least. Yeah. Yeah, I live on like technically a private road, even though you would think it's a normal road. It's not like people can't drive down here. People come flying through this road going like 80 or like, 40 all the time or whatever. It's like a quiet road. But the town treats it as a private road, so they don't pave it very often, and they don't plow it. So we're lucky if like a plow truck decides to come through. Like generally maybe once a year someone will plow our road. But I actually had to shovel like in front of my house the entirety of the road, because I knew for a fact if I didn't do anything, because I live right at the base of a hill, that we wouldn't even be able to get my parents' cars out, because they have these little front wheel drive cars. So I had to sit there and like shovel it all, and I was like, dude, the amount of money I'm paying in taxes for them to not pave my road is ridiculous. Like, get out of here, dude. I don't know how it happened that this is like a private road, but you wouldn't know. You would never even tell. There's nothing that like would lead you to believe this is a private road, you know what I mean? It's like just a regular freaking street in the town, but... Yeah, I mean, we've only had it paved once or twice, too, but whenever we get it paved, it's like... Because, as you know, roads here in Long Island, New York, are just like... You might as well live in, like, freaking Alaska or something. They probably have better roads than us up there. Alright. This is looking pretty good, though. I'm kind of liking the all-white. That being said, I wouldn't mind getting some other color variations, but I'll show you. What do you think? Should be right here. Yeah. So this is a more traditional one right here. This is like a little bit larger Cowan's bait fish, and I think we used some of that alpaca fur, so we got one of these bad boys. And then here's one that we did. I want to tie one of these here in a little bit with the feathers for the fins and stuff, which this I really like. If you look at it like this, kind of has a really nice 3D effect to it that really does look like a fish. But what we could do is we could add some... I don't have the Flash and Slinky, but we can use some Steve Farrar fiber for the top section on the next one. Mix up the colors. I hope so. We'll find out. Well, look, the cool thing about a fly like this is it mixes the sort of action that you get in like a Clouser. Maybe not as exaggerated, right? Because it doesn't have dumbbell eyes. So it's not going to have as exaggerated as an up and down, but it's still going to have like a pretty decent jigging action to it. Just innately due to the way that the focal point, the pivot point on the jig hook is, right? And the weight. So we'll see. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to take one of these and put the weight in the rear back section, kind of like how Henry does the coyote or something like, not the coyote, the darting bait fish. I kind of want to see what happens if we put it like really far back in the rear, what's going to happen. So we could maybe wrap some lead wire for the next one like that. Even though he does do the scud weight, so we could maybe try and fashion our own with lead strips. That is something I want to try though. So maybe, I think that's what we're going to do here next in the near future. What do you call it? What we're going to do once we take a quick little break. That's how long we've been streaming. Oh man, it's been an hour. You know what that means. Hookah Lounge. The Union Hookah Lounge break is now active. I need like sound like woo, woo, woo. How about a witch sound effect? All right, that works. Do you have any, do you find shrimp patterns effective early on or better later? No, shrimp patterns work great in the springtime, but they work good in the summertime as well. Summertime's a good shrimp time. But I will say spring is, like, that's a classic time, because here's the thing. Springtime, you have a limited amount of bait that's in the bay. You'll have spearing, and you'll have killies. You'll have sometimes herring early in the spring. But you'll have the crustaceans and the shrimps and stuff like that. So the crabs, the shrimps, the worms. So one thing that you can do is, even though you may not have peanut bunker, you may not have sand eels, and all of these other migratory bait fish that we get later in the year, you can focus on places like fishing like estuaries and creeks like I do, where a lot of the bait that they're eating is going to be either spearing, or it's going to be shrimp, or it's going to be crabs, or possibly herring, or possibly bunker. There can be bunker early in the year as well. But so what you can do is you can fish a fly like this Cowan's bait fish, or fish a more traditional fly like a flatwing, and then above it, let's say 2 or 3 feet, you tie a dropper loop. Or what you do is you go double surgeon's loop knot, which is essentially 2 overhand knots in one. So you take, instead of doing 1 overhand knot, you do it twice, but in the same knot. You pull it, that's a double surgeon's loop knot. I mean, double surgeon's knot. If you want to make a loop, you take it, fold in a loop, tie it 2 overhand knots in one. That's a double surgeon's loop knot. And what you do with the double surgeon's knot, it's only good up to 20 pounds. So if you get striped bass over 20 pounds, particular, this is what Kenny Abrams talks about, you want to switch it. And you don't want 2 20-pound fish on a fly rod at the same time. Well, what you can do is you take your double surgeon's loop knot and you take the tag end that is now, you would clip off, that would be sitting up on the top, because you have your main section of leader. This is my arm is the leader here, and you have your little tag end here. And what you do is like 4 or 5 inches. You tie your shrimp fly on that tag end section, and now what you do is you can cast it out there with a floating line in particular, or like a sink tip, or even a intermediate line, and then you could dead drift it, or you could wet fly swing it. So stripping shrimp flies is not something I do all too often. What I'll do is I will like swing shrimp flies is what I'll do. Because that's generally like what's going to be, they're going to be getting sucked out in an outflow, and then the striped bass will be picking them off. Now I will say, if you do find a shrimp bite, it can be extremely tough. There have been times you'll have this happen summertime in like May, maybe April, or some, but like it's like May, June, summertime, or like late spring, middle of the night on an outflow, you'll hear, and you'll see these fish. You'll see fish boiling in front of you, one after another, and it looks like trout. And they're eating shrimp. And there are times where literally we've thrown shrimp flies. I've dead drifted it. I've wet fly swinged it. I've stripped it. I've done everything. I think your best bet is to dead drift it and to have it completely flow neutrally with the tide and twitch it. But every time that happens, we never catch fish, and it's random. If you do catch one, throw something big. I see people with poppers, particularly like spin fishermen. They'll throw these giant poppers in the middle of the night, or these plugs, and they'll catch big bass in those shrimp pops. So we just had a little frame drop, but it looks like we're okay. So sometimes if you do run into those shrimp situations, and it could be shrimps, it could be crabs that are smaller than your pinky nail that are hatching and are molting on the surface, throw something really big and throw a big popper. So sometimes going the opposite is better, but just blind casting, fishing with shrimp flies, I always recommend swinging them or dead drifting them. Don't fish them like you would a clouser and strip, pop. You can do that for sure, and that will work. But try and find an outflow. Try swinging them. That usually works better for me. And like Popovich talks about it, the pop fly, the ultra shrimp flies like that, they were fishing them. What they were doing is they were chumming shrimp for weak fish and things like that in New Jersey. So like those sort of flies, I'm sure a lot of people didn't, it's not a very, like, I think it's a sort of thing that you're going to do all the time is catch bass on shrimp flies. But I think it's more so if you're in a estuary and you're in the right sort of place and setup and you fish it right, you can do it. But I think it's definitely shrimp flies. What I'm finding more and more, it's more of like a selective fly. It's not a fly I'll fish. Like, oh, I'm going to randomly just blind cast in the creek. I'm not going to throw the shrimp fly. It's like when the tide's going good and it's like dawn or it's dusk and there's like the perfect breeze for it to create a little bit of a swing or current in my particular area where I fish. But if I don't have like the right setups, I'd rather fish like a jiggy or fish like a bucktail deceiver. But that's just me personally. So, all right, we're going to take a quick little break. I'm going to go grab a drink and just stretch my back out real quick because as usual, we got to stay limber around here with back issues. And I'll be back in just a little bit for, we'll tie another one of these, but this time we're going to try and move the weight around to the rear bend of the hook and see if that will change the way that this fly particularly swims when I go to fish them. So, all right, chat. Let's play our Albie video. We'll be back in just a moment, all right? Appreciate it. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, all right? Yeah, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the valve.
Yeah, get on the valve. All right, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, hold next to Allie. Good job.
That's sick.
All right. Nice.
Let's go! Woo! Albie slap!
Good job, kid.
Yee!
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little tuning, bro. On the alligator too.
Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god!
You gotta turn the boat so I can cast. Oh my god, dude! Alright. It's getting a little bit colder out there now. So after these dry, I can put liquid fusion on them, but I usually let them dry for 4 or 5 hours minimum. There's actually a couple of these I gotta put some liquid fusion on. They'll be tied over on the streams. All right. Let's try another one. Yeah, I'm excited. We'll see. Hopefully the fishing season is gonna be good. Gonna go fishing no matter what, but finally get some inspiration to do some videos other than just flies as well. So we'll do some topical stuff. Like I said, we'll probably start off with a fly box video of the spring striper flies. Also, if you guys haven't oh, Southern Fly Guy, I'm gonna send that out. What do you call it? I just sent out some stuff today, but I gotta check and see. I think you were February, right? So if not, that'll be going out Monday. But yeah, it usually takes a month or so. It takes me a little while to get to the post office for the giveaway stuff. Just bear with me. But I shipped out a couple stuff today, so I gotta check and see. Because I have to, I only had a couple of smaller flies to put in envelopes, so I have to take a look in the box of flies we have on hand. I think I got Craggerol and gin, so I'm probably going back to the post office early next week for the other ones. But I'll let you guys know when I ship the stuff out, so. Unfortunately, I'm limited on the size of the flies that I can ship in an envelope before before the post office is like, what the hell's going on, asshole? So unfortunately, you're never going to get any gigantic flies in the giveaway, but we figured out a solution because we used to do packages and it got so freaking expensive, especially for international. So now an envelope is the way. So I got to dig out. I have some smaller flies for you guys, or if not, we'll whip up some. So we're going to try and put our keel all the way in the back here, almost like that scud weight. And see what we can do here. Yeah, we've had some unfortunate mishaps with the post office over the years. I still have a couple packages of fly orders that are stuck in Brooklyn somewhere. Probably on an island somewhere. Seasonal flies, bait fish videos are great. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I need to do a video on actual bait. Like a whole video dedicated on bait that you can, what do you call it? That you can expect in the springtime. For sure, that's actually a good one. All right, make sure too, if you guys want to share any flies you've been tying in the Discord, post them for later on in the stream. We'll take a look. Let's get this in focus because things are moving around a little bit here. In fact, let's get them like this. Tom Hanks will deliver them in a few years. You and yours, I never get half your references because they're always so deep. Is that like what is that from? Like freaking Forrest Gump? Where was he delivering stuff? I'm gonna wrap this up just because I'll tell you what is a good movie about delivering, which I haven't seen in a long time, which is on par with Waterworld, and it's another Kevin Costner movie, but it's the Mailman. You remember that movie? I kind of want to see it again because like I saw some shorts pop up on it. And I'm like, man, that movie was so ridiculous. I remember it was so dumb, but it's kind of like a good dumb movie. You know what I mean? Castaway? Ah, Castaway. Yeah, that one was never my favorite. That was never my favorite. It was too deep with him talking to the volleyball. But Brew, thank you, my friend, coming in. 75 months. Whew. Sheesh. Thank you, my dude. Long time support. Very, very kind of you. How you doing, Brew? You getting ready for your spring fishing? Yeah, I forgot Castaway. Yeah. And it's like, didn't his wife like remarry or something? I just remember that. I was like, yeah, this movie sucks when I was a kid. I'm sure if I watch it now, I'd maybe hit a little bit harder. I just remember he like tried to get out. He tried to build a boat. There was all these like ups and downs. Let's see what happens when we put the weight in the rear like that. Thank you, Brew. Very, very kind of you, my friend. You ready to get out on the river? Hell yeah. Yeah, I've been trapped inside all winter. I think we're all ready to get out there and do some fishing. All right. Oh, it sounds good, doesn't it? Fishing? Just to say it. What should we do for the tail here? Oh, I know what. We're not tying this normally as well. We're going to try and do like a homemade darting fly. So we're just going to tie this like a Magnum's bait fish, or just a Cowan's bait fish, but not with, we're going to tie it in the front and have the material come back. We don't need to have a tail section and all that. We're going to tie it like a Magnum bait fish, but like smaller as well. You'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see. Something like this. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then, you know, we could probably just tie that on there, no? Should I do this the top, I guess? We'll go shorter for the belly. I should actually move back a little bit. We're going to need more room. It's actually a little bit long, so, you know, I can cut it down. We'll keep it a little bit more reasonable size. We'll have a tiny bit of longer stuff for this tail section, or this top section. I will say it's the one thing I don't like about the Flash and Slinky. Out of the package, not all of the hair is the same length. Now, if you're just cutting it off and tying it on the fly, that's okay, because it's kind of pre-tapered. But if you're doing what I'm doing and you're trying to get the most out of the material by tapering it, cutting it in your hands and tapering it, it sucks because now you have there's like different size material. Because I'm not tripping, even out of the package, before I even messed with it, some of it was shorter than the others. Which I guess maybe in their head it's like, okay, it's pre-tapered. But the problem with that is, the way I'm trying to tie and get the maximum amount of the material out of the package, it ends up causing me to have like a bunch of hair that ends up getting thrown away. That's the only downside I've seen. Other than that, it's fantastic. And even then, that's not a deal breaker, right? So that's okay. But it's just making it a little bit harder to work with because there's like some that's uneven, this is that. Because this is an older pack, right? If it was brand new, it would be one thing. But now I already have like shorter hair in the mix from when I was cutting it and trimming it. I actually want to, yeah, let's keep it nice and sparse on the belly as usual. Because I think I have one of Henry's darting bait fish. I haven't taking a look at it in a sec, but I'm almost certain there's nothing in the tail section. You just ties it in the front and it kind of expands off like a magnum. I could easily go grab it, but we're just going to have fun and sit down and experiment and see what happens. It's half the joy of fly tying. I shipped the fly rod on 2/5 to Indiana. They found it in Chicago Monday. It delivered yesterday. Oh man, it went to Chicago. Well, thank God you got that solved quick. I lost, like I had a big fly order I had to redo for some dude. I saw on the tracking it went to this place in Brooklyn, and I had the local people at the post office because they know me. They're like, yeah, that's like some island or that's some place in Brooklyn, like some giant hub. And I'm like, yeah, it's just been stuck there for like a month. They're like, yeah, I don't know. It's you're probably never getting that package back. It's probably just stuck in this Brooklyn facility for the end of time now. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, great. Like, all right, I'll just tie another one, I guess. It was like $200 worth of flies. So I was like, all right, cool. I just told the guy, I'm like, it's stuck in Brooklyn. I'm like, you could see it in the tracking. I'm like, all right, I'll just make a new one. He couldn't get to, they wouldn't give it to him and all this stuff. And it was just stuck there forever. Who knows, some archaic New York City post office system. And it's gone. What? Yeah, it's gone. Like the classic South Park meme. What do you mean it's gone? Yeah, it's gone. Sorry. You know, it happens. I should have kept the receipt. I should probably look and see if it's still there. It probably is. There's probably some way of like getting it, but that would require being on the phone with like and like the dealing with the post office, because they were like, yeah, dude, you're never getting that thing back. Even the people at the post office that I know by like name locally, they're like, yeah, good luck, dude. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, it's like stuck in like limbo. UPS purgatory. And it's always been, I've had a couple issues. It's always been with like Brooklyn. There's been a couple places that I've shipped to. I've always had issues. Luckily, they've gotten pretty good. But there was a little while when we were having issues with flies not showing up and stuff like that. They've seemed to have gotten better. I think the people at my post office, or maybe some of the people, they just didn't care at all or something. They're like, yeah, whatever. Like my post office in particular, like you go there on a Friday, dude, before they close, you're asking for it. Like they are some of the people that, I think they got new people now, but they were so, I knew them by name too, because I was going there every week. They were so fed up with their job. Like the attitude this one guy had. Like he was super nice to me, but like, you know, some lady would come in, some like Karen, and start giving him an issue, and he'd be like, ma'am, you need to wait. He'd just be like, like this guy did not care at all. So people would always be like talking shit in the post office about the post office. It was so funny. But I found you make friends with the people at the places you go to all the time, you're gonna have a much easier time, you know? Like, hey, what's going on, Jim? Hey, how's it going, Mike? Friendly to people, most people will be friendly back. That's what I learned. Let's go ahead and keep moving here. Now, I think I'm going to keep it fairly long on top and short on the belly. Kind of like you would with some Popovic style flies. I'm going to try this out. And also, extremely sparse. Can't really emphasize that point enough. Oh. Now I think we should try and add some colors. So I'm gonna grab some of the Farrar that we have. They ain't flash and slinky, but we can use it. We'll go for some pink. Now I know we'll save this for the last two ties, so I'm gonna wait. Patience. I like the majority of the body being white. You'll see here in a sec. We're gonna mix it up. Again, make sure any of these really long hairs, I don't want it to be ridiculously long. And you could just retaper it in your hands if need be. You can see how little material we're actually using, but again, it builds up so quickly, so something you gotta train yourself on is really... I'm gonna be honest with you, it probably took me like 20 years. Like, it's just still like the past couple of years I've like maintained the discipline of like stopping myself from adding more material. Because you could see it's such a small amount we're using, but it adds up, right? So like, it's so easy to find yourself in a situation to where you just have too much material and you have to trim it. It's just a waste, so. But it's hard. It's really hard. I just naturally want to add more material. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It doesn't look like enough. Maybe killie pattern for spring. Yeah, we did the killie, what do you call it? You know, it's funny. I tie all these flies in killie colors, and it, again, I don't think it's whether or not it's the killie color or not. It's whether it's the fly, like a bucktail deceiver or something. But I've tied so many different killie variations over the years. And I always just seem to, like, go back to fishing my normal colors, even though there's killies everywhere. We could do a killie variation. It would be something like yellow and olive, which I do have those colors. We're not going to be using wind and flash, but that's okay. And then we could do some barring. Yeah, that works. Again, I think it comes down to more so I'm just like confident in a blue, pink, and white bucktail deceiver, or an all white, or a pink and white, or whatever these colors are, even olive and white, that I'm like fishing like a killie color with like the yellows and the olives and the orange and things. And then I always just switch back to like my go-to colors. But I think if I just stuck with it, it didn't matter. Like, I'd probably catch them. Adding a little space. Yeah, of course. I'm just trying to, in particular, build up the profile for a more 3D profile. If you wanted to, you could obviously space out the material. But, like, you're not going to... The fly is going to be different if you use 4 ties as opposed to 6 ties. And the fly is going to be different if you use 5 ties as opposed to 3, right? Generally, on this particular fly, I think it's... So let's see, it was... the tail, then it goes 1, 2, yeah, so there's 5 ties in total I normally do with this fly in the video, the way I was doing it. And that's just because, like, the way you end up tying the tail around where the hook point is, then you have your first long tie, your second long tie, and then your 3 shorter ties. You have your 1, 2, the bulk or the bend from where the lead was, and then you had your 1 tie in the front. That's how I was doing it. But that doesn't mean you can't tie 8 ties, but you just keep it sparser. That'll be a different profile and a different type of fly than one that if you used more material and 3 ties, right? But they're all different and they're all viable. So I would say if you use less ties, Jim, you're going to end up with a thinner profile. Because obviously, if I'm using less material but more ties, I'm able to build up the profile. So it depends. Like in a killie in particular, we want that bulky kind of 3D round profile to the fly. And you know, but if we were going for, let's say, more like a herring or something that was thinner, like a smaller herring, like the thinner juvenile ones, you could get away with doing 3 or 4 ties, right? Because you don't want that taller or wider profile to the fly. So but obviously, if we weighed the amount of material out, and we're like, this is 50 grams of slinky fiber, or flash and slinky, and we tied one fly with 6 ties, equally divvying out the material, and then we tied one with 4 ties, equally divvying out the material, they'll both have the same amount of material, and I bet you they'll both look completely different, to a slight variation. They're still going to be the same fly, but they'll both have different profiles, and they'll both swim differently as well. So that's something to think about. But you're totally right. You can space out the ties and do it that way and adjust the way the whole fly is to your liking, you know. But be mindful of those things. This stuff will have impacts on everything, the profile, the shape. But that could be in your favor for what you're going for, you know. But that is a good point. What's going on, Dead Draw Todd? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. We're going to add a little bit shorter stuff to this to kind of fatten it up. But again, I like having more ties because I'm building up more profile to the fly. For instance, a really cool thing you can do, if you had 6 different colors of flash and slinky, you can start off with white and then work your way up, or start off with a dark color, work your way up. And like you can go with different colors in each tie, and you can do this with the 3 or 4 tie as well, not just a 6, 5, whatever, how many ties you're tying. But that is another cool thing, is it gives me more opportunities to blend colors in between the ties. So it's just different. You can try it different ways. I've probably tied 10 flies in my life, just looking to improve. Well, the best thing you can do is tie another 10 flies, Todd. Keep tying. And if you want, if you're not happy, cut the material off. I mean, nowadays you don't really need to. But back in the day, hooks were much more expensive. They're still expensive, but you can recycle your hooks, do whatever, but just keep tying. It's the only way you're going to get better. I don't know if you're tying freshwater or what, but it's time on the vise and practicing doing it that's going to help you with your thread wrapping, how neat your flies are, how nice your thread dams are, everything, right? Your thread heads. I'm more of a saltwater guy, so I can't help you as much with the freshwater, but the basics of fly tying is always there. It comes down to thread control, and you know, as long as you have good thread control, you're 90% of the way there. It's just a matter of when you're putting the material on the hook and in what manner. Obviously, you might need to learn certain techniques over time if you're tying certain flies, but generally, like what we're doing here, we've only used a handful of techniques all night, and it's very simple stuff. It's a matter of, if my thread control was, you know, not as good, we would be struggling to, like, you know, with certain aspects of the fly potentially, because they'd be fighting us. Oh, we got to add our... I almost forgot. Damn it. Thank God I didn't. The secret sauce of the pink fluoro fiber. The legend of the rant was way hardcore. Bonus points if you know what that was from. I'll fold that back. Now we can tie our belly and top section, leaving ourselves just enough room by the bend of the hook to not have to deal with what we dealt with last time, which was the thread slipping and sliding all over on us because it was at a weird articulated angle. Pod sounds like Tenacious D. It was, yeah, Tenacious D. I think it was from the movie, but I feel like they could have sang that song in their show. I have their show on DVD, which I don't have a DVD player anymore, but their HBO show, because they actually had a Tenacious D HBO show before the movie and everything a long time ago. But I think it's from the movie. They were like trying to come up with songs. They were like, the legend of the rant was way hardcore. They were trying to come up with songs. I think that was the song they were going to sing at the show or something. Yeah, when I'm saying that, I'm saying from the Pick of Destiny, because that's like their only piece of media that most people know about. But I got the Tenacious D album from Best Buy, like when it first came out, and then we used to look in the music section of the DVD section in Best Buy back in the day, and they had, or it was in the music section, they had the DVDs or whatever. So they had like Led Zeppelin. We have some sick Led Zeppelin DVDs of like Unleaded or whatever with Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. That's one of my favorite DVDs of all time. But what do you call it? I remember we used to like, I think that's where we got I was like, what's this HBO show, Tenacious D? I'm like, whoa, maybe it's their music. It was like a comedy skit show, but it was all like really short skits too. HBO would have like TV shows, but it was like a 15-minute TV show, or something. Or they'd play it because there would be no ads, right? But it was like, dude, I'm telling you, that show was so unhinged. That was like one of the most unhinged shows. And some of the extra stuff from that DVD is wild. Like, I can't even talk about it on YouTube or Twitch. Some of the stuff that they filmed, some of those skits. I think one was like Rocket Sauce. Oh my god, dude. There's some crazy stuff. I remember showing that to a couple of my friends, like Cody back in the day, and he's like, what the hell is this? I'm like, this is the greatest thing you'll ever see in your life. It's the greatest piece of media that's ever existed. It's like a video of them. They're like they run into like a Jesus cult that loves Jesus, but they were like a cult with guns. And they were on like, and it was all about like that they used their crap to fertilize or something. That was like one episode. Then there was like a special thing, or like a limited, it was like a deleted scene where they were like they thought they were doing like acid, but they weren't. So they like convinced themselves they were doing acid, and they were in the desert in their underwear, like tripping balls. And Kyle ends up giving birth to a baby. It was like one of the craziest things. I remember watching this, like, what the hell am I watching? What did I buy from Best Buy? And they're like covered in shit because it's like a fake baby. It like came out of his ass or something. I'm like, what is going on, dude? Like, oh, I mean, it's hard to argue. My all-time, because I'm a guitar player, it's it goes Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, and then Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then, of course, there's like Rory Gallagher and other folks. But, I mean, it's kind of hard to beat Jimmy Page. I'll say Jimi Hendrix kind of gives him a run for his money, though. But it's not a competition, so. Yeah, Tenacious D is great. Love their music. I've seen them live. Great band to see live, too. Good show. Fun time to watch it. Final length of the fly you're trimming, hook size. This is a size 1, and this is just under 3 inches, I would say, or maybe around 3 inches. The tape measure's downstairs still. But I could tell you from experience, because I just tied some on this particular hook, right about here was about 3.5 inches on this magnet. So you could see we're probably right about 3 inches. That's about half an inch right there. So. But we still got some like width to the fly. We got that like 3D-esque profile. But you see, now look at this. This is like how you tie a magnum bait fish. Now, normally you wouldn't trim the material as much, so we're kind of doing a mixture between like where we're starting the fly as the magnum bait fish and the length of the ties on the top. And then on the belly and the trim of the fly, we're kind of going for the Cowan's bait fish. But again, the fly was started right there. All of this back here, there's no material other than the weight. But you can see we still got a virtually a very similar looking pattern and fly. You know what I mean? So. to get this. There you go. Get that V-tie sitting pretty. There's a couple straggler hairs. I got to glue the eyes on first before I worry about that. Yeah, you can't beat Hendrix. Can't beat Hendrix. Unfortunately, we lost him way too early, but who knows? Hendrix... Who knows what the hell would have happened if Hendrix stayed alive. The world would have imploded. I don't think it could have handled them. There's like stories of like Eric Clapton like hearing rumors. Like everyone was like hearing rumors of this dude, because back then people literally were, there was graffiti in the streets that said Clapton is God. That's how like much people revered Cream, Clapton, the Blues Breakers, you know, all that, and how much they like revered him as like a guitar god. And then Hendrix showed up, and people are like, "What the hell did I just watch?" Like they couldn't even tell. There was like fuzz. It's like everything's feeding back. You know what I mean? He's like, he'll like. There's been times where he like burns guitars on stage, breaks guitars. Like people are like, "Whoa!" And I remember like hearing stories. You'll hear stories online, like other musicians talking about like, "Oh, Clapton, his hands were shaking when he saw Hendrix live or something." Meanwhile, though, Hendrix was like, "Do I get to meet Eric Clapton?" He was like so excited because Clapton was like the greatest guitar player. He's like, "Oh my God, please tell me I get to meet Eric Clapton." Meanwhile, Eric Clapton's like freaking out. Like, who is this guy? And they'd never seen anything like that. So this is what they love to say. It's like Jimi Hendrix completely revolutionized the electric guitar. Completely revolutionized it, unlike any other person had done anything with it. Then you had Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen completely changed electric guitar, unlike anything anyone had ever done in the style in which... or made it mainstream, as just like Hendrix popularized things like tapping and all this stuff, and they'd taken guitars, painting them, and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And then you had like people like Malmsteen and stuff, crazy fast players, or Steve Vai, people like that. But it's really Hendrix and Van Halen that were like Eddie, that were like the main like completely shaped modern day guitar playing. Every branch of like modern day guitar playing, and of course. You gotta factor in Tony Iommi with Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath pretty much spawned like modern day metal. And every branch of metal that exists nowadays. Very pivotal times. You saw Jimmy at Woodstock? Oh, God bless you, Gene. You've truly lived. You truly lived. I didn't, unfortunately, I've been lucky. I saw Cream live when Cream did their reunion tour at Madison Square Garden. So I've seen Clapton. I've seen, Pete Townsend with The Who. I mean, Alice Cooper. I've seen Jeff Beck live in Brooklyn. I've seen a bunch of different great artists, but there's the bands that I haven't seen that I really wish that I could. Obviously, some of them are unfortunately passed away. Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, one of my all-time favorite guitar players. He was like Jimi Hendrix reincarnated from Texas, and with blues. And then, of course, Jimmy Page, who's still alive. I've never seen Jimmy Page. And I would love to see him play once, but I don't know if that will ever happen, unfortunately. But if Led Zeppelin ever does go on tour again, which they probably won't, or if Jimmy Page shows up to New York, I gotta go. Yep, Townsend was there. Yep. Yeah, The Who's interesting, because if you see The Who nowadays, like, they all have hearing issues, and they're all like... They all like blew out their hearing, and like what's his name, the lead singer? Oh, what's the lead singer's name from the Who? It's right on the tip of my tongue. But he had all sorts of issues with his voice and everything. I remember at the show we were at live, they stopped, or something, like Pete Townsend stopped, like somebody was smoking some weed or something. They yelled at the dude because they were like, "You're gonna screw up." Is it Robert something? Daltrey, that's what it is. Is it Robert Daltrey, or is it some Pete Daltrey, or no, what's his name? Something Daltrey. They were like, yeah, Pete Townsend yelled at some dude for like smoking weed because he's like, the smoke is gonna mess him up. Like, we were like, holy crap. I'm like, good luck with that, dude. I bet you half the audience is gonna be blazing it up probably in Madison Square Garden. Roger Daltrey, thank you, Roger Daltrey. Yeah. If you guys haven't, you need to watch Tommy the musical. Beautiful movie, soundtrack, everything, album. Also, and Tommy's the one with Pinball Wizard, but didn't they have another movie? Oh yeah, Quadrophenia. We have those DVDs as well. My dad's like, you gotta watch this. I'm like, what the hell is this? Quadrophenia? Crazy movie to watch when I'm a teenager. I'm like, this is sick. Or like in middle school or something, right? Like doing breaking into like pharmacies and like riding their scooters. They're in like scooter gangs. It's such a sick movie. They're actually like in scooter gangs, and they were all like wearing cool jackets and like they put mirrors all over their mopeds. Really cool time. Kind of a sad movie though. But then Tommy is a sick. It's an album, but they also did a movie, and there's so many great guitar players in it. I think they have Clapton in it. I think they have some of the Beatles in there. They have Elton John as the Pinball Wizard. So they're like, all these great musicians are sitting on that Who album and in the movie. You got to watch Tommy. Really, really good movie. And Robert Daltrey plays Tommy, who's like a blind boy, essentially. But because he's blind, he's like the greatest pinball player of all time. Because he can use all of his... he's missing his sight. So how could you play pinball? But he's using like the feel of the pins and like the sound and like the smell of the pinball machine. I don't know. He's in the Matrix, Tommy. Well, what a great movie though, about a blind pinball player on his journey to like become the greatest pinball player of all time. Such a cool movie. Great album. I mean, it's an album is what it is that they turned into a movie. You know what I mean? This one came out really good. I'm curious if this fly is actually going to dart. We didn't put a scud weight because we didn't have one, but we essentially put a very similar amount of weight tied in a very similar way that scud weight Cowan's darting bait fish would. So there's a good chance this might go side to side. You know what I mean? That's kind of what we're after. The whole thing. It's interesting though. Like, let's just take a second to look. This one we started halfway up the fly. You can kind of hide that, like, the fly was only started halfway up, and it looks very similar. You know what would be interesting is tying a... Well, here's the thing. I need to get these scud weights because I really want to tie one of these darting bait fish that Henry ties. But what would be cool is scaling it up to a magnum bait fish size and tying it with something like this. Now, we've tried something like this, but there's got to be other ways. What if you just take a regular worm hook and you move this whole sort of thing back, make your own, make a big lead pocket on the back or something, you know what I mean? So that's something to think about. I think we got to start small first. I think one thing you're going to find with the smaller ones, I think there's a point. When it's too small, you may not have enough weight to entice it. But I think there's probably a sweet spot in the fly size when it comes to getting a darting fly and getting that consistent side-to-side action. I will say when it comes to the poppers, like the pole dancers, what's the name of that darting fly, or the DC Dodger, like you can get it's a popper pack. With those flies, the larger ones seem to have better movement, and I think that has to do with the fact that you can just physically put more weight on it. Again, I really think the entire trick behind a darting side-to-side fly, one that goes side-to-side like this, is weight. I mean, that's obviously. So that's going to be like the number one crucial thing. Because I know we've talked about it before in the stream. I know some folks have been trying to tie stuff like it as well. But it's always been the big, like, trying to design a fly that swims like that consistently. So one day I would like to come up with my own version of something like that. We've messed around with it. 4-rod with a large scud weight. Yeah. Something like that, essentially. You know, there's probably, if you could, like, get a custom hook made, that would be the coolest thing. Like, if you get Gamakatsus like this made, but with the weight and the bend of the hook to where it is in this perfect spot in the rear. The other thing you can do is take a hook like this, tie the fly in the front, and then put the lead on here and make it adjustable to where you can actually move it and slide it around. There's probably a way you can wrap the lead, not secure it, but just wrap it and then maybe epoxy it so it's like secured, but it can move. And then maybe you take body braid so it becomes like, or maybe you take some rubber tubing to stop it. I don't know. There's got to be some way you can, like, it'd be cool if there's a way you can. This would be something for a video, actually. This would be a really great idea. We get a hook like this with a bend like this. We tie it in the front section, somewhere like this section here, and then we have a adjustable weight. And what we'll do is we'll slowly move the weight on the hook and see how it changes how the fly swims. I got to write this down. This is like a great idea for a video. I just don't know. You would need a way for it to, like, you wouldn't want it to fall off the hook, right? So you would need a stop. Like, you would have to put a permanent bump or something over here to stop it from sliding. You know what I mean? Let me write that down, though. That is a fantastic idea for a video. Adjustable weight on worm hook or something. And I'll put darting fly tests video idea. Okay. That's a great idea. I would think just flat wire. Yeah, you could use just flat wire, of course. Or you need, that's the thing, right? If I wrap the lead wire, it'd be easy to move, but ideally you want the scud weight sort of thing. So how can you make it so the wire's on the bottom, but still you can move it? How about if you took some sort of tube that is wrapped around the hook shank, but then you, like, in the tube, you shoved the weight in those silicone tubes, you know, for like a tube fly? There's got to be some way I can do it to where it's not permanent. I mean, I could always tie 4 versions, but I think it would be cool for a video to have it to where it's like adjustable and sliding the weight, you know, and then you could see how that, then you can't say, oh, well, this fly is tied differently. We used less material, right? You can't say it's the same exact fly. The only difference is the weight. That specific piece of weight is moving on the fly. Like a slip bobber. I use oversized beads on shank of a keel on the hooks. Move and keel and rattle. Yeah, you can definitely use stuff like that for sure. I don't know. It's something to think about. I would like to do some brainstorming, figure that out. I think the best thing to do, take a piece of silicone tubing that can slide on the hook, and to that, it's not going to be permanent, but it could be for a test. Attached to the tubing that slides on the hook shank, glue a bunch of lead weight on the underside. Or something like that. I don't know. For instance, wouldn't be a permanent, that wouldn't be how I would tie the fly, but it'd be a way for us to kind of adjust the weight like a slip weight on the hook shank. You know what I mean? Anyways, I think that could be kind of interesting for sure, for like a potential video or something, because I'm really curious. I think you know, it's easy to underestimate how much the weight on the hook can affect the way that it swims, particularly in that sort of thing. Heat shrink with weight in it, and then you just cut it off. So what, like push the material forward to where you have the bare shank put the heat shrink around the hook shank and then put lead wire in there and heat it? Or what do you mean? Like, oh, I guess you could heat shrink it and have the lead wire attached to the heat shrink, maybe? Yeah, there's got to be a way. What I'm thinking of is, like, there's got to be some sort of, kind of like the tubing that I've used to use, the silicone tubing for, like, tube flies. It's got to be a thin tubing you can put on the diameter of the hook shank. Maybe if you wrap Bill's body braid, you can fill it up, and then you can move that piece of tubing and attach the bottom of the tubing can be lead wire. But ideally, you do want the lead wire kind of, well, I was going to say you want the lead wire to the shank, but I guess the further you put the lead wire away from the top of the fly, the more drastic of an action. So what if there's a way you can kind of like get the lead wire? Yeah, I don't know. This is like mad scientist, you know, like inventor in your garage, Friday night beer drinking fly tying when it comes to the weird weight on the fly, for sure. All right. Let's see. Again, if you guys haven't, you can post something in the Discord. We'll take a look later. Oh, look at that. It's about time for another hookah lounge break. Really, I got to use the restroom real quick, and I'm going to grab a drink. So what we'll do is we'll play our away video. When I get back, we'll tie one more fly for the night. This time, maybe we'll wrap the wire in the port of the rear. I don't think, we're not going to mess around with it. This might be a whole nother stream ideas. Before we do a video for that, we're going to come up with our rig on, this is where your brainstorming would really help. It would be, how can I slide the weight? Or the tubing through the whole body and adjust where, that's what I was thinking. I think you could have the tubing and then you could shove the weight inside the tubing and then you could just move the tubing around. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking a tubing, attach the weight to the outside of the tubing because you do need the weight to be long enough and big enough. If it's on a tubing inside, you might not be able to push it far enough forward. Anyways, I don't know. There's a piece of tubing downstairs. I'm going to go grab it when I go downstairs. You'll see what I'm talking about. The thing is, the hook shank's not that thick. So again, it would be like maybe I need the right type of tubing, like a thinner vacuum line on like a car. If you guys know, like an EGR2, or like, you know, like for a vacuum line for an actuator in an engine bay. Something like that with a thinner diameter might be better, but I don't know. I'm going to take a look when I go downstairs. I have a piece of tube fly tubing. That's what's coming to mind for something like this. But there's probably all sorts of ways you could go about doing it. So there's some way to cinch something on the hook, and then you can move it. Some way to have enough tension to where it's not going to fly off the hook, you know, is all. So, all right, chat. We'll take a quick little break here. Stretch your legs if you've been sitting down for an hour like I have been. And we'll be back in just a second. We played the Albie one, so we got our break video. This is a real quick one, so I'll be back in just a moment. All right, and we're back. This is what I'm talking about right here. What if you take a piece of silicone tubing? You could use this to kind of move it up and down the hook shank. I think it would work better with a lawn or hook as well. I think these size ones are a little small, but you get the idea. Like, what you can do, even though this hook, I think if you get them larger too, the hook will be a wider diameter, which will make it easier. But for instance, what you could do is you probably want the tubing to be as small as possible, right? So it can have the most free amount of movement up and down the shank. But I guess the idea would be that we'd have to fill in the space in between the shank and the hook. How's our frames, by the way? Our frames are okay? Yeah. But what we could do is you could take this piece of tubing, let's say, and on the underside, glue with UV resin. It wouldn't be very permanent, but you need a way to where the tubing's not cinched. If you tied it on there, this would cinch it, and you couldn't move it freely. So we need a way to attach a bunch of lead wire to the back side, the belly side, and then you could have free movement. You just tie the fly to where it has some material in the front, and then what you do is you fill in the gap here so it doesn't move freely, right? Maybe you could put a pinch. Maybe we could, like, there's like a little metal clip I can wrap around. I don't, who knows? I think we just fill in the gap to where it's tight enough. But you want to be able to slide it. The idea is, like, what happens when the weight is here? What happens when the weight is here? Here, and I could just slowly move it and just see what happens when you start moving the weight and what happens to the fly. You get the idea? You need a way to be able to have a mechanism to where you can. So we'd have to make our own. You know what I mean? We could try it. We could just fuck around right now. For instance, that's my idea that just came to me, like, just while we were talking before. I think you almost want to even make this smaller, but for now, I'll just leave it the way it is. So I guess Bill's body braid, perhaps. Again, we don't want any weight, so we're not going to put any lead wire. But what I'll do is I'll wrap Bill's body braid so that we get enough diameter width. And I'm going to go all the way down this way because we want to go and, like, this is like a test fly, so. And somewhere near there, we need to build an exaggerated bump. Maybe with thread or some other material, who knows. But we need a stop, essentially. But maybe we'll do that after we put it on there or something. I mean, it is somewhat malleable. I could probably squeeze over it. But again, ideally, I think we'd have just a smaller tubing. But, you know, working with what we got. So I don't know how much Bill's body braid we're going to need here to fill this in is the question, but all we're doing right now is we're making a wider, or the hook shank diameter thicker, so this tubing doesn't slide on it. That's what we're doing right now. And then we'll tie the fly on this front section. I want the most amount of travel as possible when it comes to potentially moving the tubing, so we can experiment. This will also just give us some nice flash to the fly. Now what we'll do is we'll tie it off and we'll do a test. If we need to, we'll excuse me, do one more wrap back and forth or something. I'm hoping this is enough tension on the inside, but it might not be enough for the tubing. We'll see. I mean, that's good. It might slightly move. It is going to move, so we need more. We need some more. I want it to be snug. You know what I mean? I don't know if we actually want to wrap the whole way. We might just want to, like, do something like this. We might wrap. But what I'll do is I'll do it like wider wraps. Ah, screw it. Let's do it normal. That should be enough. Create enough tension on the inside of the tubing, hopefully. We're experimenting. There we go. Because now I can move this. It's not going to move on me, but I can move it freely. You see? So, throw a whip finish in there. So now I can move this on the fly. I can, if I need to, and it's not going anywhere. So we could start off here with the weight on the belly and then push forward or push back. Now, how am I going to secure weight to this without having it fall off or break off? It's going to need to be durable. Okay, so the best bet is going to take lead wire. And how do we do this? Stacks of lead wire on top, thus on the belly. It's kind of tricky because now we've kind of we've created a gap. You know what I mean? So I guess what you could have done is you could probably take a bare shank and shove a bunch of lead wire in between. But you know what? We're gonna try a couple. I don't even know if we're gonna tie the flies right now. We might just tie the prototypes of the shanks. So let me get some shanks cut out. Like, where's a reasonable length for us? Something like this. But what if it's all the way back, huh? So this is the tricky part. I've created this slippable section, but now I've kind of put myself in a predicament on how do I lay the lead wire for it to actually be positioned properly. So here's the thing. I think we want to keep it short. Potentially, we might want to get a new piece of tubing, cut it longer, and then... Let me cut a new piece of tubing. I'm kind of brainstorming in my head what to do. I think I'm going to glue lead to it and just see if it's durable enough. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a sec. This might be too long, but it does kind of work. What I'm really worried about is when I go to move it to the area that it bends, that it's just going to break. But we'll see. There's only one way to find out. That might be too long, huh? Let's try it. That's kind of around the length of the scud weight in the fly Henry sent me. That's about the length of the wire I'm going to cut. The idea is when we move it to the bendable section, I hope that it kind of stays there. Or it bends with it. So I think I might need to actually use some thread just to kind of help secure it so I can glue it, but if I pinch it, I can't move it. So yeah, here's the thing. It's already kind of tight. All right. Before we do this, let me grab one more hook. We're going to try something. Stretchy tubing over a scud. Yeah, but I don't have a scud weight. I would just then tie a scud weight. But yeah, that would be great. So we're going to do this. We're going to go stretchy tubing over lead wire. Or with lead wire on the inside. Let's try this. This might give us the same exact sort of thing we were hoping for, but with just the infinitely easier creation. So let's see if we can do this. Yeah, this seems like a much just less brain dead option. The way I was going was way infinitely more complicated. Seems much better. And I should be able to move it up and down, and I'll just create a stop in the back somewhere. Though I will say this scud has a lot of weight on it, I feel like, so I gotta jam some weight in here. I mean, I have 6. I gotta count how many pieces of lead wire, because normally I'll do a keel with like 5. Scud's gonna be more. This is 5 pieces. I want to get at least 6 or 7, maybe 8 in there. Yeah, there we go. Get it in there. Now we got some weight. And we should be able to move it. Not really flexible as much, but this should work. I mean, look. You just came back from the Maple Chalk? All right, sounds good. Must be a Canada thing. What is that? I'm assuming you just missed the autocorrect or something screwed something up or whatever. Are you getting maple syrup, or what are you doing with maple? What are you doing up there in Canuck land? I think this will work. The question is this just going to come flying out when we cast it, right? So maybe I want to put a little glue on the tippy tops, but not on the shank. Like flex resin. Yeah, let's do that. I want to see how many pieces are in there. Sugar Shack. Okay, you're getting, gotcha. Maple Shack. Sugar Shack. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. I think I could fit one more in there. Let's get 8. 7's uneven. By George, you've done it. I'm worried that it's going to fall apart, so I want to put like flex resin on the tippy top area. So I bet you if we took a much longer shank hook, we would get to see more exaggerated results. But this is a prototype, so I don't know if I can even... I think I was able to get one in there, but we'll see. If not... Oh. I'm pushing one out. Okay, maybe not. We might be at our limit. And again, we want it all on the bottom, which it is. It is all on the bottom. That's the hook shank right there. Looks like there's a gap, but I'm going to bet that's about all I can get in there. Oh. Hold. We might get 8. Come on now. Oh, we did it. Now, I want all the lead to be even, too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim everything at the front. Perfect. So let's push all this towards the front. I'm going to pinch it. And I'm going to get lead wire everywhere. Fantastic. Little nubs. And now we can slide it wherever we want. If I lock it with thread wrap, I'm going to make it harder to slide it, I feel like. So if I create a cap, I'm going to create caps right here. Flexible caps. That's the idea. I got to stand up because I never use the flex resin. Where is it? It's right here. Push it through, then wrap the wire back and towards the tubing. Oh, that could be cool. We'll do another one. We'll do another one here. We're going to do another one. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. I see what you're saying. Loop around. You call that the San Francisco special. I don't know, I just made something up, but I like that idea. Okay, we're going to cap it. Okay, get the tunes back. Load them up, Jerry. I was ice fishing for 2 days on melting ice. It was through 2-inch ice, sketchy. Oh man, you gotta be careful with that, dude. What's the purpose of this experiment? It's to see how the weight placement on the fly affects how the fly swims. The whole idea is the holy grail of streamer flies is the darting side to side action you get on modern day swim baits and things like that. That's the thing that if you can get a fly to do that, then you're in business. So it's a very hard thing to try and replicate. Now here's the thing, I have to be careful. I don't want the resin to touch the hook shank. I just want to like create a cap. Yeah, here's the thing, Calvin. I don't want to put any pressure on it because I want to be able to freely move it. Right now it's nice and snug. I don't think it's going to move from casting, but we'll see. I think what's going to happen, some of it's going to touch the shank, but once I move it, it'll like break free. It's not like going to permanently adhere it, but we'll see. Looks cool. That's neon. It's actually fluorescent. There we go. Got my neighbor's dog. Noisy little bugger. Yep, see? And the weight should naturally kind of go down. I don't think it's going to move from casting. Like that. Scud's weights are tungsten, so they weigh more than lead. And with the back wrap should help getting the weight and hold the wire. Yeah. No, I understand. We're working with what we got. I think getting a scud shank and sticking it in the tube would probably be the easiest thing, right? For sure. Without a doubt. But this is more so we're experimenting with what we got. And it'd also be nice to figure out if we could do it without a scud weight, for instance. Now what we've done is we've also kind of like built up a much higher weight distribution or weight profile on the hook further from the hook shank, so it's like separated by putting the tubing, so maybe that'll have something to do with it. Let's try the through method. You're catching angry brook trout with cheese, hot dogs, and bread? Boy, catch them with the fly. Oh, you're fishing through the ice. Classic ice fishing with hot dogs. Hell yeah. We used to catch panfish with hot dogs when we'd go camping as kids. Oh, dude, I ran out of lead. I'm going to just use what I have left. This is more a proof of concept. I see what you're saying, though. You can go with a lot of lead wire. And you can do something like this. Now, here's the thing. You need to, like... Right? It's kind of tricky because the tube's not... It's malleable, so you have to be careful. If you, like, go too hard on it, it'll bend the whole thing. So maybe what you would do is you fill it up, and then the last couple ones... Because I see what you're saying. Like, you go back over and over and over again. I think you would need, like, a hard piece of tubing that you would use a traditional tube fly. This is too malleable. But what we could do in the last couple ones, maybe. So what if I go with, like, 3 pieces? And then stick this in there. I wasted a little bit of lead wire cutting these too long. That's all right. What I'll do here is trim this like so. I don't know if I have enough lead wire for this, unfortunately. I think we just ran out just now. But I have a little bit left. Just this little piece left. So how would you do this without bending the whole thing? Yeah, see, if we had like a traditional piece of tube fly, but we're experimenting. That's the most important thing, because you're not going to come up with a fly that darts side to side or be innovative without experimenting. This is the tricky part right here. I got to make like a little hook shape. It'd be easier if you kind of go over and over and over again, but the problem is this is elastic, so it's tricky to get it nice and tight, you know what I mean? Luckily, lead is quite malleable. Yeah, see, if I had a stiff piece of tubing, what I could do is I could wrench down on it, right? This is what happens when you have too much time on your hands. I'm like, what am I doing right now? I'm streaming me fiddling with the lead wire and a piece of surgical tubing. You know, chat, I will say, I wouldn't have it any other way, spending a Friday afternoon than with you folks messing around with lead wire and surgical tubing. Appreciate you folks hanging out. I'm like, what am I doing right now? Yeah, so I think maybe for this particular idea, A piece of hard tubing would be nice. Matt Jaretsky's yard sale fly pattern with him tying it. Keys weight at the rear. Profile vertical. Okay, interesting. Made a jig fly? Hell yeah, dude. Alright, Raph, have a nice night. Okay. I mean, it works. What I can probably do... Nah, I'm out of lead, so... But we can move this. And it works pretty good. So maybe I could try this in the future with a piece of hard tubing. Maybe this is where I want to cinch it down because it's kind of loosey-goosey on me. Or, what if I do this? Watch this. You ready for this? Hot shot move right here. This is a hot shot move. That's what I like to call a hot shot move. I gotta keep the thread on there though. It's going off. There we go. This is the tricky part. You need like a tube fly vise for this. Oh, just spin it on the hook shank. We'll do it that way. There you go. That tightened it up after wrenching down on it. And now I can move it. It's not going to slide on me. We can move it quite far too. Like, how's that going to affect it? Now, one thing I didn't think about is that how does the silicone going to affect it? Yo, Jim, what's going on, dude? Oh, I got something for you, Jim. I was waiting. It was divine. I knew you were going to show up. It ain't Go for a Ride, but we got some new tunes I'm working on. I wanted to show you guys. All right. Interesting. We have a couple different variations. Yeah, is the silicone going to affect it? Is the silicone buoyant, or is it like... Does it just sink? I think it just sinks normally, right? I'm going to put a little resin on here. We'll take a look at the Discord, and then I'll play a sample of some new music for you guys, and we're going to wrap it up. Put a little flex resin on here just to make it durable. Also, the flex resin is flexible, so it'll flex with the tubing. This will also add a little weight, too, so... Oh, no. Ah. Damn you. I'll clean that off. Okay. Make sure this isn't covered. It doesn't have any resin on it. Just hit this with the light real quick. The Halloween song's kind of hard to beat. Well, we're also, my buddy has a studio in town now. The same friend that I drove up the island and recorded that Halloween song at his studio. That's why it sounds so good. Also because it's a cool song, but it also just was like recorded essentially professionally. He has like a whole recording studio, and he's in a band. They go play all over, so he's going to help. We're definitely going to record. What we'll probably do is maybe we'll get the backing tracks like figured out and the songs that we like to jam to and like play live. and then we'll record backing tracks in his studio, so it's like way better than what we were doing on stream before previously. You know what I mean? For those of you that don't know, we used to stream live guitar on Saturday nights. So I don't know when we're going to do it, because I stream Saturdays for Mike Rolls Dice, but what do you call it? We'll check that out. Look, I got the telly back there. And, okay, let me wash my hands for a second. Yeah, Bill's body braid for the win. Hell yeah, you can use it to hold that a whole contraption together. Alright. Let's take a look at the Discord, shall we? See if anyone posts anything or what the fly's been going on. Fly-wise. Oh, I gotta fix this. That's me every single time. Elgato, Elgato, Elgato. Deactivate, activate. Boom. Alright. Welcome, John Roots. Fish picks. We saw these. I think we've only missed a couple things. I think Calvin and Yumi here and Zeke have been posting some stuff. Yeah, this is from after their last stream. Very nice, Calvin. These look great. So are these with scud weights or what? But you can see, beautiful. Looking good, looking good. And these I really like. These are right up my alley. Wool heads, looks like, or are they slinky? This looks like ram's wool to me. This is the sort of stuff that gets me excited. This sort of stuff right here. We covered a fly very similar like this. Now, if you take this, that might be EP fiber, it looks like. If you take this and cover this in silicone, this will float. And you got a simple clone. Zeke tying some flies for somebody. Very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hell yeah. Great job. Great work. You've been killing it, Zeke. And here we got some big ones. Nice. Yeah, I got to get some jumbo hooks. I want to try... This is where I think if you get this size hook, now we can start really upping the amount of material we can attach to it. You know what I mean? So, I got to get me like 4 odds or something, 5 odds, whatever. And get like gigantic scud weights. And then we'll put them on the tube. That'll probably be easier in general. This I like. Hell yeah. And it's with the flash and slinky too. Very nice. I see the flash and slinky on that one. And this one looks like. Or this one might be a mix. Either way. Killer. And you got the hot pink fluorofiber. Yeah, it looks like it. That's fluorofiber. Hell yeah. Beautiful. Nice, big, fat, kinky. And a nice popper. Hell yeah. I like your flies. You mean they're nice and simple, but that's all you need. Like here, we're tying the fancy stuff, but there's nothing wrong with just a clouser or some craft fur on a fly, you know? You get the job done. All right. Cool. Let's, for anyone that's watching, be prepared. I'm gonna make sure it's not too loud, but we've been working on some music. We used to play guitar live. You know, I'll even grab my guitar. We could do a little doo over it if you guys want. We'll do a little sample shred. We could do one. Well, check this out, chat. Well, this thing's not Velcroed, but check it out. I built myself, for the first time ever, a pedal board. So we got my tuner. I used to have my Russian Big Muff, which I have a Russian Big Muff, which you're like, what the hell's that? Don't worry about it. I won't explain it because it sounds funnier if I don't explain it. An old one from like the early 2000s. But I have a Electro Harmonics Cockfight pedal, which is like a wah pedal. Then I got an Archer, which is like a Klon clone. And then this is brand new. We just got JHS delay pedal. And then I got as well an Ernie Bolt Volt power supply. So I took a piece of wood, bought some furniture bump things, and this is how Paul Gilbert makes his pedal boards. I was like, I'm not buying a pedal board, dude. I ain't got money for that. But it works good. Let me grab a cable in my telly. A cockfight with a Big Muff? Hell yeah, dude. Now we're talking, dude. I'm not gonna play the cockfight one because I need my expression pedal for it, and the dumb expression pedal needs a power supply, and I don't have it set up at the moment. So. All right. I've had the Mexican Fenders. We played Japanese Fenders. Dude, I'm telling you, the Squier Classic vibe, this guitar is ridiculous. And I think I got it for like $300 and something back then. I think they're like $500 now. But this guitar is like, we modded it. We threw DiMarzio in the neck, humbucker. But I'm telling you, dude, this is like some of your best money can buy guitar, the Squier Classic vibes. They're so good. They are so freaking good. All right. Let's see. Yeah, if you guys have been watching in a while, you know we used to play guitar on stream, and we've incorporated music into our streams way back in the past. So we got a couple different songs. There's Bitch. There's Fuck You Fuzz. There's Ba 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 Da 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 Da. D's Nuts Middle East. Face Chugger and Fuzz Face. I was like, I just randomly come up with names when I come up with a riff. This is the one though. This one I like. These are all like troll names. D's Nuts Middle East. I think because it's in D. That's why. All right. I don't know how loud this shit's gonna be. It looks like it's loud for you guys though. It's not even. That's like nothing for me. So. How did we used to play guitar back then? I got to figure out my output levels. My output levels are not right. Like my line 6 I used to use back in the day. Because I'm looking at the meter. How loud is this? It's not loud at all in my headset. That's the thing. How loud is that for you guys? Because it looks like it's pretty loud on the monitor, on like the bars, but for me it's not loud. It's not that loud? How about that? It's an okay level? Okay. Alright. We'll jam a little. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. I didn't know. I was like, are we going to do it on Mike Rolls Dice channel? Are we going to do it on Li Flies Mike? Here's the thing. I can't play covers because if I played Jimi Hendrix, I'd get copy striked on YouTube. On Twitch, I could play it. So it's got to be all originals. So I was like, do I just play on Twitch? Do I even play for YouTube? But, I mean, we used to stream guitar to Twitch, and the people liked watching it. So maybe some of you folks will like watching it. So I don't know if we'll do it, like, every other week, every week. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. But... Alright, this song, though, is this song, I think? It's not loud enough for me, but that's okay. It should work. Alright, now this, hopefully this isn't too fucking loud for you guys. Let's test it out with the metronome. Oh. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta change my sound settings. This neck is too small for me. Oh shit. Alright, here we go. You guys can hear because it was on the wrong audio source. This is ba 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 da 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 da. Great for new viewers. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if people like it or not. But alright. How loud is this for you guys? That's fine. A matter of finding the right balance. The shit might be fucking loud. We gotta find. This is two guitars. One pan left, one pan right. How's that, chat? Is that right? How's the audio? Can you hear the guitar? Wait, which fucking... Oh. I fucking suck at this. Guitars and everything. It's so sensitive. I forgot which key I was in, but So here's the thing. These are not like normal scales. These are like fucked up Middle Eastern Turkish scales. Fuck, dude. I haven't played guitar in a while, so I'm trying to get the hang of it. It's some crazy fucking, is it cold or something? I'm in the transition period where I just wear a, I just need to cut my hair. Look at this. Hey, what's going on, guys? You got $1? Hey, bro, you got $1 you can spare me? Bruh. I look like I'm outside of 7-Eleven, like, high on methamphetamines. I just gotta cut my hair. If I actually brushed it, though, I'd probably look like, I get the Eric Clapton cream wavy hair. Hold on, though. Alright, anyways, Chad, that's all you're getting for now. I need to work on my guitar playing, for sure. But in the future, we will play some guitar. I also need to figure out, so, like, here's the thing. Like, it sounds quiet in my headset going through the mixer. But, like, it looks like it's somewhat loud. So what I need to do is I like, need to sit down and do, like, a recording specifically and see what the audio sounds like, because we used to stream with like a slightly different audio setup, so I like need to make sure, because I always have a hard time, everything's louder in my headset than it is in the mixer on the output for you guys. I don't know why, it's just the way it is half the time. So like I need to do some tests and stuff, but it'll be a little while, because I got some tunes and stuff, but like to do a live stream playing guitar, like, I need, like, 2 hours worth of music to play, you know? So, like, I don't want to play the same song for, like, 30 minutes and just jam over it. Like, I need to have songs. I need to, like, do this and that. So, it's going to be a little while, because, like, we lost all of our music when I reset my PC. Because I thought I had a virus, but it was the freaking cooling on the computer was, like, completely dying. But, anyways, we'll have some music eventually, and it'll probably be... it'll be like a little bonus thing, you know, where like on some Saturday nights where we might stream music or something like that. So if you guys want to watch it, you can. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But what do you call it? I got to do some tests and make sure everything's working properly, and because we're running an amp into instead of having a microphone in front of the speaker of the amp, we've disconnected the speaker, and that's running into an attenuator that's sending a DI signal. So anyway, I got to figure out everything, because it's a whole new setup and everything. But chat, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed a couple crappy guitar licks. What do you call it? I got to practice, because I haven't played for like a year or a couple years, honestly. So I'm like just starting to get calluses on my fingers again. So, like, bear with me, but, what do you call it? We will be, what do you call it? We will be jamming We will be Li Ross underscoring Li Ross scoring for sure, and fishing it up, and playing guitar and making a fool of ourselves, doing all sorts of things on stream over the upcoming months. But chat, thank you so much, and Rev, thank you so much as well, my friend. Very, very kind of you as always. No need, but hey, you know, I'll take it. First member on the channel, by the way. The legendary It's Me Rev. Famous in the wargaming community, by the way. Famous in the wargaming community. But chat, thank you so much. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. What do you call it? Raid Shook. I think I have him on host or something, but what do you call it? If you guys want to check out, go check out Shook1. He's awesome, dude. But I got like, what, 4 or 5 viewers? So it's almost embarrassing to raid people with like 5, 6 viewers. But that being said, we love Shook here. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about on Twitch, that is. So, but chat, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, the real Shook1 on Twitch. If you guys are interested, check him out. He's doing live fishing on Australia. There might be some folks on YouTube that might not know him. But chat, thank you so much. Have a great night. What do you call it? Have a great weekend. If you're going out and you're going to start fishing here soon, remember, what do you call it? Famously bad at remembering toughness values. That's the 2 of us. Don't worry about that one. If you're going fishing soon, you know, let us know how you make out. I'm probably gonna start going fishing soon. So I'll let you guys know. It'll probably be in a week or so. So before that, we're gonna have some YouTube videos planned. So, what do you call it? Yeah, appreciate it, chat. You have an awesome night. You take it easy, and we'll see you tomorrow for Mike Rolls Dice, and we'll see you on Friday for another stream. So, new video coming out either on Sunday or probably Monday or something like that. So I got to work on it. But chat, you take it easy. You have an awesome night, and you take it easy. Neves, Rev, thanks again. Zeke, Jim, thanks for hanging out, dude. Iglaz. Who else we had? Slim, Slim, thanks for stopping by. Gene, Raph, everybody, Yumi, Calvin, you folks have an awesome night, all right? You take it easy. All right, chat, we'll see you.